Hello everyone, this is Mr. Vanderpool. Now we're going to look at our second short run to long run scenario, and this one is regarding a supply shock, or short run area gets supply shifting to the left from full employment output. Remember, that is given a name if you have a decrease in short run area gets supply starting at full employment output, and that is called a supply shock. So this is the supply shock scenario going from the short run to the long run. All right, so once again, quick review: short run, long run. Okay, in the short run, wages and other input costs are sticky. Long run, wages and input costs are flexible, and therefore they will change, and we will see how in the long run, when wages and input costs become flexible, short run area gets supply is going to go ahead and react to that change in wages and input costs in the long run. All right, so we're going to start off here with our ADAS in equilibrium. Okay, we have aggregate demand intersecting short run area gets supply, and you can see there we have an equilibrium price level called P1, and we're at full employment output. Now, if there was, let's say, an increase in input costs, okay, thus you have a decrease in short run area gets supply. Short run area gets supply shifts to the left from SRAS to SRAS1. Okay, like let's say, for example, let's say the price of oil skyrocketed. That would be a huge increase in input costs. You have short run area gets supply decreasing, shifting from SRAS to SRAS1. So after that happens, okay, we can now see where SRAS1 intersects aggregate demand. You'll have a new equilibrium price level, P2, and you'll have a new equilibrium output, which is Y. So let's go ahead and take a look at the short run. So the short run is what we've already practiced for several days now. So the short run area gets supply curve shifted to the left, which implies that real GDP is going to go down and the price level is going to go up. You can tell that just from the graph. And then that would imply that the unemployment rate is going to go up and the inflation rate is going to go up. So remember, the unemployment rate is going to go opposite real GDP, and the price level goes the same way as the inflation rate. So notice here what's going on. You have an increase in unemployment and inflation. What's that called? That is called stagflation. Okay, so this stagflation takes effect in the short run when wages and other input costs are sticky. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the long run. So as we transition from the short run to the long run, we go ahead and we're looking at the long run now. So we can see that we have that drop in real GDP that came from the short run, and that implied that the unemployment rate went up, which we could also tell from the short run. So remember, when we have that lower real GDP, that means less output, less hiring, less employment, more unemployment. Okay, so that lower real GDP increased the unemployment rate. So now we get into the heart of the long run, where wages and other input costs are going to become flexible, and therefore they change, and short run area gets supply reacts. So an increase in the unemployment rate is going to lower wages. The reason is that the unemployment rate is high. There are people clamoring for jobs. They really want jobs, and they'll take lower wages in order to get a job. Okay, so as the unemployment rate goes up, that implies that you have lower wages. Those people desperately looking for work will accept lower wages. And when you have lower wages, remember, wages are a big input cost for businesses. So lower wages implies that input costs are going to go down. And if input costs go down, short run area gets supply is going to increase. It's going to go ahead and shift to the right. Okay, so what is going to end up happening is short run area gets supply is going to shift back to full employment output. So short run area gets supply shifted to the left from SRAS to SRAS1, then it shifted back to full employment output. So where you have SRAS, your original SRAS, you're going to go ahead and have your new SRAS curve. So we're going to go ahead and give this a new name, and we'll call this SRAS 2. Okay. So what ended up happening? In the short run, short area supply shifted to the left from SRAS to SRAS1. In the long run, after wages and input costs changed, we had the increase in short area supply. It shifted to the right, and so it moved back to full employment output. So our short area supply curve original is going to be basically the same place as our new short area supply curve. So the SRAS is going to be equal to our SRAS2. Okay, so once again, going into the long run, okay, we have lower real GDP. That implies that you have an increase in the unemployment rate. When you have an increase in the unemployment rate, that means people are desperately seeking for work. They'll accept lower wages. So that implies you have lower wages, which implies that you have lower input costs, which is going to increase short aggregate supply, thus shifting short aggregate supply to the right. That's back to full employment output, or SRAS2.